They can't hear it anymore.
Feels like I should be doing like the Carlton to that song. I don't know why.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello and happy Sunday night chat, everybody. I'm Jean-Luc,
I'm Nick.
and it is day 49 of Kickstart Fall 2025. This is insane. We are so excited to have you guys here with us again tonight on day 49 for our Sunday night chat. We're driving into a theme that we're really it's what really defines what Kickstart's all about. And what it is tonight, we're going to be talking about pushing your limits and finding your next challenge. And I think, you know what, a lot of people probably hear that and think, oh my God, I can't do this. And of course, this cat has to decide to start playing with a gnome in the middle of the show. Right. Yeah, you really had to do that right now.
Of course.
But it's about, I think what happens, it's left to interpretation, right? Because a lot of people are going to think that and they're going to think, oh my God, how am I going to push myself to my limits? These are really big words that we're using, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later throughout the night's chat.
Exactly. This week is about that moment when you realize you can go just a little bit further, whether it's physically, mentally, or emotionally. Sometimes the hardest part isn't starting, it's beginning, it's believing that you can keep going. So sometimes it's just, especially this time of year, we're talking about this whole theme last week, how this is a very tough time of year. So tonight's, again, try how can you push through those challenges, especially going throughout this time of year. Remember, if we say corn or either of us drink water, that means you guys got to drink water. So if I drink, you don't have to. It's when we drink, one of us drinks that they have to. Because otherwise, you have to stop talking. So just keep talking.
I know, but I still want to drink water, so it's a good excuse to drink water.
No, because anytime you drink, don't drink too.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But I'll just forget to drink, so I'm glad that you remember.
Okay, so again, water
or corn.
Or corn.
Or corn. So we're gonna do some reflecting tonight. Of course, we're gonna share some challenges, and we're gonna just because we know we're here to doing it step by step together, right? And we want to make sure that when we're doing these things, that we're comfortable doing these things, and we need to be able to discover what comfortable is for everybody, right? So, but we've got some things we want to talk about first.
Yeah, so let's share a few updates because November's off to a great start. So first off, huge shout out to all
116 October Diamond members. That's amazing.
You tracked every single day last month, and we celebrated that last Thursday with our live cooking show, which we apologize it did not record on YouTube, but you can catch it on Facebook. And CT, who's here tonight, won the $15 Amazon gift card. She's actually here tonight, so congratulations to her. And now it starts off again. Remember that with our new tracking system, that now you only have to worry about the current month. So you are now all starting from scratch. The new month has started, November's starting off, and then you will see at the end of the month if you are still diamond, and you'll be in the November diamonds draw. But if you do not track this month because you're not up to it, by December, on December 6th, all of your November trackers will catch up. So if you've not tracked in November, those will all be crossed off. You'll be back at starting at 0, and every month you'll always start off at 0. You'll always have a chance to be diamond at the end of the month. Now, for those of you wondering, at the end of Kickstart, how does that affect my certificate? Well, if you haven't tracked yourself, if you tracked yourself all 116 or 105 days, you will get the diamond certificate. If you had a catch up, you will not be getting a diamond certificate. The certificate is only for people who truthfully tracked all 105 days. They will receive the achievement. If you caught up because we caught you up midway, you'll still get into the draw, but you won't get the certificate at the end. You need to actually be a full-time tracker, and we are tracking that in our system. I've done a very smart way of tracking that. And so this starts now, though. So everybody from before, I made everybody sound. You're all starting from scratch today. So from today on, you scratch at the end of Kickstart, you will reach your diamond, you'll get your certificate, okay? So I just want to make sure everybody understands that, because this is how we're going to make sure you guys get your diamond, and you get people who actually track all the entire time get their just desserts, You guys did the work. You guys deserve a certificate, right?
That's exactly it. And you know what? You have to understand, This is again just to make this a motivation for those of you who need that type of motivation. If
Exactly.
this is something that doesn't motivate you, doesn't mean you can't keep going with, doing what you're doing, being part of the community, still listening to the chats. You know what? We really want everybody to feel like they have a part of Kickstart and they have it in the way that they want to have it. So
Providing all these tools because some people are keeners who want to get that certificate, who will then for sure track every single day for 105 days. There are people who say, I don't want a certificate. I don't care about this thing. I'm not going to print it. I'm not going to save it. I just want to be consistent. And so that's why they join. We are having all these options because again, I didn't want one of our diamond members to receive the certificate and see Joanne received one too. And like Joanne didn't track the whole time. She tracked only the last month.
although no one would know.
I know, no one would know, but it's just to me, it's
Nick knows.
I know, and I know that if it was me, I would want the, recognition for what I have done. So that's why the certificate will only be awarded. You'll still get 5 days at the end of the month. So the first to the fifth is your time to catch up on your trackers. So you'll have all those 5 days to bring everything in, make it diamond. It means you're good to go. Next month we start from scratch again. If you make it diamond, if you're always diamond every month, you'll reach diamond at the end of the entire Kickstart. So just want to get those announcements.
Guess what, everybody?
Books.
We got our books today. We got the new cookbook and we got our new trackers. So we're super excited about it. It's actually really cool to see. So there are 90 printed recipes out there.
Yes, so
now.
we wanted to talk about that tonight because a lot of times people ask us this. We have 3 cookbooks out. And this is a dream of ours. We started writing these recipes over like 6 years ago, and a lot of them have been sitting on websites. And we always our recipes are all free. We never, we don't care if people eat what we make. John, we're that's who we are. But people always want a recipe book, so now we have all 3. The new one is already available. So if you go to jeanlucandnick.com/books, this book is available there, as well as the weekly and the journals. We didn't buy a journal this time or the orientation guide. We don't need them anymore. We know how Kickstart works.
I think so.
And we're not daily journalers. So we both bought ourselves the weeklies this time because it fits our lifestyle. So remember, there's more than one book. There's the orientation guide. So for those of you who are new, or if you want to gift Kickstart to someone, I would suggest buying the orientation guide so they understand how it all works. And then we have 2 other books that you can possibly purchase if you're interested: the weekly tracker or the journal. The journal includes every single day of Kickstart for winter, 91 days. So every day is in there for you to track every day. There's weekly reflections. There's more space in that book if you're an actual journaler. If you're more of a note taker or a list person, crossing things off, that's where the weekly commitment tracker comes in. This is your person. You're not a journaler. You don't write everything down like Jean-Luc and I. We're not journalers. So these work best for us. So if you're a person that just every week wants to just cross off everything, it's all in here, as well as QR codes to access your daily guides every day quicker and faster. And then, of course, we have the cookbooks are there as well. So if you go to that one page, jeanlucandnick.com/books, you'll find everything there for you for our next our next session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? Our next what? Our next session. There are some travel, here's a few little travel tidbits. Of course, we're going to Iceland in July. There's still some spots available if you're interested. We're also doing Ireland in April, which is actually completely sold out, which we are flabbergasted about. And then a bunch of Rustic Mama retreats coming up, which I'll let Nick talk about.
And we are going to Jamaica. So we have
Yes.
found out that we are going to be going to Jamaica. The resort reopens on the 30th of November, we were told. And so everything is going to be open and ready to go at that time. We also have a bunch of retreats happening next year. So January 23rd, 25th, we're having a Kickstart retreat, our winter one for the winter Kickstart recession. And then we're having another Kickstart retreat March 27th to 29th for our spring session. So those are going to be in-person retreats. Then we also have the Kickstart retreats, the Bougie Mama retreat happening in February. So for those of you who are looking for more upscale experience and partying down with Jean-Luc and I in Ontario, come to the Bougie Mama retreats at Ben Miller Inn and Spa happening in February. And then there's a bunch of Rustic Mama dates. Just go to our website, scroll down on the dashboard to upcoming events, and you'll see everything listed there.
So let's go ahead and just jump into tonight's
That's a
topic.
lot of
That
announcements.
was a lot of announcements.
And I just, it's just funny because sometimes we're like, oh, we have to say this again. It's like they already know. It's like, yeah, but and everyone's here all the time, so we gotta say stuff over and over again. Sorry if it's repetitive.
So let's talk about tonight's topic.
Yes.
Because I think that's the most important part.
Yeah.
Let's talk about pushing your limits and finding your next challenge. And I want to talk about this really quick because when I said it earlier, it sounds so big when you're saying, "Oh my God, I'm going to push my limits and I'm going to find that next challenge." But honestly, that sentence there needs to be brought to where you're at in your personal life right now. If you're someone who's running marathons every day and you're pushing your limits, yeah, your limits are gonna you're pushing yourself beyond what you're used to doing. So think of it. If you're right now walking 20 minutes a day, maybe walking 25 is pushing your limit right now. And that's fantastic. So I want to make sure you guys keep this in mind when we talk about this topic tonight about pushing your limits at where you're at this point in time in your journey.
Yeah, because we talk a lot about goals. But sometimes growth happens when we just go a bit beyond that comfortable stage.
Exactly.
There's always that term being comfortable in the uncomfortable, right? So a lot of us who've lost weight in the past have had to do something uncomfortable along the way to achieve that success. So even today, when you're trying to achieve something in your own life, be it again weight loss, if it's still that avenue, if it's health related, with something with a partner, if it's something financial, it's something work related, career, or even school. If any of these things are happening, maybe there's something you can do to push yourself in a different way to make yourself a little uncomfortable. And we're not saying something big, At work, myself, years ago, when I started working at TD Bank, I pushed myself to be in the uncomfortable because I am not comfortable speaking in front of people. I know people, you guys are all saying that, really, Nick? But I wasn't. I wasn't a person who liked
He
speaking in
still
front.
has his moments.
I still get huge anxiety before not online. Online, I'm like, this is easy. But in person, I still get huge anxiety. And it's something I had to work at. But I had to push myself out of my comfort zone the first time. It wasn't something that I just did right away. I actually volunteered to speak at an LGBT event at work about being bullied as a child and as a teenager. And so from that one experience of pushing myself out of my comfort zone and trying this thing once has allowed me now to do what I do now. You know what I mean? So sometimes some of these things we push ourselves to do lead us to different paths that we never even imagined. And so can you imagine with your own life if you were to do the same thing? Sometimes we look at situations coming our way and we say, oh, I can't do that. Maybe you change the I can't to can I? I'm not saying you can, not saying I can, just saying can I? Because saying I can't is already answering the question. Saying I can, sometimes maybe you can't do it. You can't say, oh, come run a marathon with me. I can. No, sorry. I'm gonna tell you, no. I'll say, can I? Can I? Can I? I could maybe walk a marathon. Ain't running it.
It's
You know what I mean? Like,
it's asking the question, and I also even think of it is instead of changing it, it's saying it, I can't. I love how Nick had said, "Can I do this?" Or even, "How can I achieve this? How can I do this eventually at some point?"
ah,
Right? It doesn't mean because I want to do something, I'm going to be able to do it tomorrow, right? But how can I make myself slowly do things to get to that moment where I can actually finally say, my God, look at that. I did walk that marathon. I didn't run it, but I walked it.
mhm.
Right. So keeping that in mind, it's changing that I can't to how can I or can I actually do it?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And so I want all of you guys tonight. So I want to hear some stories. So now I shared one of mine. I want Johnny to share a story so I want you to think about it. It's something that you push yourself out of your comfort zone that kind of changed your life. So all of you as well, same kind of question. What's one thing you remember you push yourself out of your comfort zone? And I can see one of them right now on screen right now, said that pushed herself past the comfort zone, just driving. So I want stories in chat. Just tell me, what is something that you've done to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and what does that has that led for you? Because what we want you guys to think tonight is some of these situations might not be related to weight loss. It might be related to a fear you had, or an anxiety, or something you're trying to achieve, right? But when we're trying to achieve something and we do what we achieve and feel that sense of accomplishment, we want you to feel the same way about something small and almost like insignificant. Me speaking at an event led to me being able to speak in public now. And look what I do with him, right? I never did this before, and now I do this. So, what is something you've done that was very small, but ended up being such a huge change in your life? Okay.
I can say the one thing it was for me, and you guys are gonna think, "Whoa, this is weird," but it was when I was finally able to talk about my gambling issues openly to people and not keeping it bottled up and being ashamed of it anymore. And I know you're like, "Well, how does that change and how does that make" it allowed me to realize that I'm a human being and that I can make mistakes and I can learn from them. And that's what part of life is learning from the errors that we've made, right? And that has really changed my outlook on when I do something that maybe isn't, you know, along the path that I want to do it, I can at least admit to it and then try to change my ways in that sense. So that was the one thing for me.
I see in chat a few people have been saying, and I know one of the one I will share because she did put right now is Lynn and her zip lining and her walking on suspension bridges. The first time Lynn came to our condo, she was afraid to walk on our balcony
No, she was afraid to walk up to the window
in our condo.
inside the condo. She literally stood about 2 feet away, going, "No, I'm okay right here." I'll never forget that day. And at first, I was like, "Come on!"
And now
But you
she's
could see how fearful she
and
was.
now we've brought her zip lining twice. How many suspension bridges,
Too many.
gondolas, one without a floor. You know, she went up a mountain without a floor below her on a little pole that she sat on. You know, like she's done a lot. Carmen shared that she learned to drive a stick rather than an automatic car, which is funny because we just talked about that
Yeah,
this
that's so
weekend.
weird that we talked about that
Yeah.
this weekend, Carmen.
Marilyn said she started teaching for Sheridan College continuing education when she was 20. Almost every student was older. It was very intimidating. She was also very shy, but she'd done it for more than 40 years. And I love that story because that's again, it's like sometimes we shock ourselves, you know, things that we never knew we thought we could do. And when we try to do something, we achieve it.
Well, another one for a joint one for Nick and I is starting this social media community and this social media videos that we've been doing. Because when we first thought of it, we were like, "Oh, should we do this? Should we do this? Is it something that people will want to watch to begin with? Are we going to have an impact? Is it going to be worth it?" And if
Even doing the first video was like it took us months
it took us months to actually,
because we're like, should we?
yeah, and then
No,
yeah,
because we weren't sure we wanted our private lives to be, you know,
open.
open.
And
Like we
now
were very private before. Our lives were very, you know, we didn't we
there's not much privacy anymore, is
no, we kind of
there?
share almost everything that happens now. So
But we're okay with that because we would not have met a bunch of you if we wouldn't have done that.
I love seeing everyone's, you know, walking up the CN Tower from Marianne, learning to say no from Donna. Um, I played hockey as a kid. These are all great things, everybody. And I love seeing these stories because, again, it can apply to anything you want. So when you're doing your own commitments right now, you know, as you're trying to achieve your commitments this month and all the way to the end of the year, because this is where we're at right now. This is it. This is the end of 2025. This is the last stretch here. So what do you want to do? And I actually had this thought myself today. Like I literally our our September, Jean-Luc and I
It's
was
fabulous.
amazing. Our October was eh, 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 eh. And yesterday, as we were driving, we didn't even share that story.
No, no.
So circle back. I'll come back to this in a bit, but circle back. So last night,
We were in Windsor
we
on
were in
Friday.
Windsor this weekend. So
Yes.
we drove out to Windsor on Friday night.
Which was actually not bad at all.
Yeah, not bad. We spent time with Jean-Luc's mom. Yesterday, we woke up, we went to dinner with his sister.
We
And
actually did a puzzle with my mom.
yes,
She
we made a
wanted to do a
puzzle.
puzzle, and she had these puzzles
I
in
have
her
the picture
drawer,
right
and we're
here.
like, Oh my god, let's do a puzzle. We'll have fun. So the three of us did a 300-piece puzzle. It was a lot of fun to do. I think I think my mom enjoyed it as well. It was a challenging puzzle because
Yeah.
it was all the pieces were all different shapes.
Shapes and
They
everything.
were all weird shapes. So sometimes you're like, I don't know if these
But
two
we
pieces go
tackled it.
together. But
It
we did it.
was it was
It was a
easy.
lot of fun.
Then we had dinner with his sister and brothers
Yep.
and brother and our brother, my brother-in-law, Mario. So we had them for dinner. Then we went back to his mom's and we were sitting there watching movies. You know, we
And
were
we kept
watching
hearing tomorrow's storm,
Tomorrow's
tomorrow's
Storm.
storm,
So I looked at
tomorrow's
my phone. It
storm.
was 10:30. I looked at my phone and I started looking at the weather map and it said starts to rain in Windsor at midnight, snow by morning. And I'm like, oh, if I leave tomorrow morning or this morning, I know that my drive will be 6 hours minimum. Because for those of you who are not from the Toronto area, and I'm not dissing Toronto people, they don't know how to drive when it's winter. Sorry, Toronto people. I grew up in Northern Ontario, so I know how to drive in winter. I've learned from the experts. I've learned how to drive on single lane highways. I have no problems on those. When people from Toronto experience these things, though, it's like the world ends. And so people like it's true. The city becomes paralyzed, and I'm not blaming Toronto. They don't. It doesn't snow here.
I'd
Why do
rather
it?
it be slow than be crashing
Why do you
into
think I
people.
live here? Because it doesn't snow much. I left Snowbury to come down here, and I gotta now handle all the non-winter drivers. Anyways, so I knew it would take 6 hours. So I'm like, I tell him at 10:30 last. I'm like, hun, if we leave now, it's gonna be a 3 hour drive instead of six with traffic and everything. It's gonna be 3 hours and 11-minute drive. We can be home by 2 a.m. And so we packed up and we had another incident happen this weekend. So on Friday, we are leaving, packing up, and Jean-Luc decides to move our car from our parking spot to visitors for Lynn, because Lynn parks in our parking spot when she comes and watches the cats. So we do all this. We move the car, we tell Lynn, we pack up the car, and we leave. We get to his mom's and we find out Lynn wasn't supposed to come this weekend. Lynn was actually had asked us to cancel this weekend
Well, we had canceled
and we had canceled for her and we forgot. So she actually drove on Friday
4 o'clock
at
in the
4 p.m.
evening
to come and feed our cats.
and we were like, Lynn, why did you not just tell us that we canceled on you?
So we told Lynn last night that we were leaving last night. So she drove home to Hamilton last night. We got here at 2 a.m. And I'm so glad because I saw the roads outside
Well,
today.
it's as soon as we woke up this morning and I woke up, my first time I woke up, I was around 7. We didn't go to bed till about 3:30, 4 o'clock last night. By the time, after driving, we needed to unwind. We weren't ready to go right to bed. And it was snowing and it's been snowing nonstop here since. So we are very, very glad that we did leave the
So-
night before,
so
last night.
That's a situation there. Doing something that's not in my comfort zone, driving at night till 2 a.m. You guys know me. It's not my ideal. I wore my glasses. Yes, I wear glasses for driving at night because I was like, I want to make sure I see well. But it was actually an amazing drive. There was no one on the road.
Yeah.
I had cruise control on and I just stayed in my lane and just
I will say this, it was really there was a few spots that had some like light snow
Yeah.
or wet snowish rain, but it wasn't terrible. But it goes to show you that sometimes you have to make those decisions, right?
and do something out of your comfort zone so that in the end, we got home at 2, went home at 4, I got to bed at 4. But today I woke up at 2?
Is it 2? I don't remember.
2 p.m. I needed my sleep, everybody. You know me.
He
So
needed his beauty sleep.
so 2 p.m. But I woke up. We got everything we needed done. We actually ordered our groceries in today. We didn't actually go pick them up. We got Farm Boy delivered today, and we were able to catch up on stuff and get everything we needed done. So that small uncomfortable thing led to a better Sunday, as opposed to if we would have done the original plan, which was drive home today, go do groceries, and do everything we were supposed to do. So think of it like that for your weight loss or wellness journey or your kickstart journey. If that's not even what you're working on, whatever you're working on right now, what can you do to push yourself out of your comfort zone at work? If you're something that you are struggling with something, like Jean-Luc was saying about gambling,
or even maybe Nick was talking about work. I'm sorry, I was just going to piggyback on that. Maybe it's that time of year where you know what you need to have that weird conversation with your boss and say, well, it's the new year, and I'm just wondering if is there a raise happening? Because sometimes some places do not tell you you're getting a raise unless you actually talk about it, right?
And again, that might be uncomfortable, but what could happen from that conversation? The worst thing is they say no. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. That that's what we're trying to
It's
make
not
you guys
easy.
think about tonight. It's sometimes it's very uncomfortable to do these things. Going to an event, going to speak somewhere, calling someone. I know I'm a big person. I don't call anyone. Does anybody else here? Does my mom, my sister, and I have the we do not call companies syndrome? He calls all the companies. I do not call Bell. I don't call the insurance. I don't call anyone. It's his job. I don't do any of that because I'm not good at it. I get frustrated. He can, play it off for a bit and then be very firm and he gets what stuff happening. I just get angry and it doesn't work out. So again, what can you do this week that can possibly push you out of your comfort zone, but achieve a great change in
And
yourself?
so basically what we're also saying, maybe it's pushing yourself with an extra rep, maybe doing an extra rep, maybe adding 5 minutes to your walk, right? Maybe it's adding 5 minutes to your walk. Maybe it's forcing yourself. Maybe your commitment right now is having breakfast 4 days a week. Well, maybe you should try it 7 days a week this way.
Yeah.
Those are what we mean in pushing yourself.
Maybe your
with your
commitment is I'm going to do things 2 times a week, and this week say I'll push myself to do it three
three
times
times
this
this
week.
week.
You
And it's
know,
not saying that you have to push yourself to this like every single week, but once in a while is adding that extra one to go, okay, well, wait a minute here. I can do it 3 times a week now, right? And especially this is a good time to show
because
to
this
do
is the
it.
time that right now we were saying hard time of year. This is our for us in northern hemisphere. It's time to put on the pounds. We're going to hibernate, thing comfort food, staying in, blankets, warmth. These are all the things that we look for at this time of year. This is also a time of year where there's more events, there's more parties, there's more heavier meals that are happening, there's more just in general happening. And so we want to see you guys come out of the next 2 months not going, hey, in January, do you want to wake up on January 5th and join Kickstarter and be like, oh my God, I'm so mad at myself. I didn't even try anything. I just gave up in September and I gave up completely. Or do you want to say, hey, I started in September. I faltered a bit in October. I wasn't completely committed. But you know what? I came back roaring in November and look where I'm at now in January.
And I think that's what we need you to understand is that you need to prove to yourself that your limits can move.
You're limitless.
Your limits can move. And every time when I read that and I thought of that when we were talking about this, Nick and I earlier, I was thinking of Mean Girls, where the limit doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
The limit doesn't exist. If you're a Mean Girls fan, you'll get that reference. But that's the thing. I think what happens is we as human beings establish our limits, and we have to. You have to. But what's stopping you from moving the limit? When you've reached a point where you're like, yeah, my limit can be moved a little bit. Why not? Move the limit. It doesn't mean you have to move the limit on everything you do, but you can pick and choose the things that you feel maybe need to be moved, maybe where those limits need to be increased. Or guess what? Moving your limit doesn't mean you need to increase it. Maybe it's something you need to decrease as well, because maybe your limit is too high as you speak. And by giving yourself less pressure, you might be able to succeed at it a little bit more. So keep those in mind. I want you to think about that. I want you to celebrate every single win you actually have at all times, no matter what. I think we need to be celebrating more often because when we celebrate, we feel good. And when we feel good, we want to do more.
So here's what's coming up this week. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's chat. We're trying to, get ourselves through the end of the year basically right now because we know this is a very tough time of year. And even ourselves, we're trying to just get through it. We're just trying to, we're two regular guys, just like all of you. Work is hard. There's a lot of events, things happening. We're planning for 2026. It's just there's work, life, and everything is constantly on the go. And I'm sure we're not the only ones going through that. You're all going through it in your own unique way. So you know what? If we can be here this month just to help keep you consistent, keep you at least accountable to yourself, support you in any way. Just remember that's what the group is here for, right? This is why we created Kickstart. It's, when we need support, we come to Kickstart when we need it. And when you guys need support, you guys come to Kickstart when you need it. This is why we're here. This is why Jean-Luc and I are still here November 9th, and we are still not depressed, and we're still going on every day. Tomorrow we are, I think tomorrow night we're doing a step class.
Tomorrow night, step
We're going to take Jen's advice.
Jen's advice. So
We're probably going to do a step class on Tuesday night and Wednesday night.
Monday, Wednesday.
Sorry, Monday and Wednesday. What did I say? See, I'm worse than you.
Monday, Wednesdays for sure.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see if we can add a third class at the end of the week. But Monday's at 5:30 and Wednesday's at 5:30.
Tomorrow morning is not happening.
We have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly why we really appreciated Jen's message last week. It was Jen.
And we're lucky right now because after Jamaica, we have no trip till April. So this is a prime time for us to slowly get ourselves back into our step routine and get ourselves our stamina back up. And so that's our plan. And we don't want to wait till January.
And we don't want to wait till December even.
No.
We want to do it now.
Yeah.
We talk about being accountable, and we need to be accountable to ourselves. And we keep saying it. And yes, saying it is great. And we've been saying that forever, saying, okay, even if you don't do it, it's good that you're repeating it to yourself. But guess what? Someday you just got to get up and do it.
Yeah.
You got to just like, we've got to put our big boy underwear on. We're putting our big boy diapers on right now. I don't know, underwear, diapers, whatever you want to call them right now.
I don't have any Depends.
And we're just gonna have to suck
on
it.
On that note.
Because what kills me is we know once we do the class, we'll be like, why haven't we done it in such a long time?
Yeah. I was telling him yesterday, I'm like, we didn't get to do any Halloween mixes.
No Halloween mixes. So you might hear some Halloween mixes.
So maybe on Monday night, we'll do a retro. Let's go back to a week and pretend it's Halloween again.
Everybody put a costume on tomorrow.
We'll see what we do. So this week, Tuesday, there's no session. So we are taking a night off for Remembrance Day, Veterans Day in the United States. Yep.
On Thursday, I am cooking in the kitchen with, of course, Nick. And I'm making my fiery noodle stir fry, which is one of our favorite. Yeah.
I love when you make that.
It's our favorites.
And then next Sunday, we are back with pushing your limits, celebrating breakthroughs. So tonight we're talking about pushing your limits and pushing past them. And then at the end of this week, we're hoping you guys take the theme at heart. Try something this week. And then next Sunday, we want to come back and celebrate things that you guys have achieved by pushing yourself through that limit this week. So please, your homework this week for the entire week, find something this week that you can push yourself further for.
Pick one of your commitments.
One of your commitments is a great place to go. Maybe one you haven't done for a while. Maybe saying this week, I'll finish that commitment all week. Maybe it's something that one commitment where you've been struggling with snacking. Maybe now you're going to be firm up that commitment, be more honest. And I know I saw you, Donna.
It's one that you started noticing that, wow, this is a little too easy for me now. Like I'm really, really like this is a natural place for me to be. And you might want to increase it a little bit. And that could be anything. It could be absolutely anything. So really look down and try to figure out one, and let's celebrate that
next Sunday together. Okay?
Yeah, that breakthrough. And breakthrough doesn't mean you need to have accomplished it even. Let's just look for the breakthrough.
For me, it's going to be doing steps.
Hey, that's exactly
my little push this week.
So we are definitely excited to see you guys on Thursday, which is our next session, and also seeing you next Sunday as well.
Yeah. So thank you for spending Sunday with us, and remember that your limit is just a starting line for what's next. Have a great night, Kickstarters. Keep pushing your limits, and we'll see you tomorrow at 5:30 for step, or Thursday or Wednesday 5:30 for step. See you then. Those of you in Zoom, stay behind. As always.
Everybody.
Always a good acrobatic act.
Every single time.